2, 3, 4. This week, it's all about New Yorkshire.
Indeed.
We're going to be drinking Vocation's Love and Hate.
And Salt Brewing Factory's Ikat.
Welcome to another episode of Beer Reactions. I'm Paul.
I'm Jono.
And this week we're going to be continuing our journey into deepest, darkest Yorkshire.
God's own county.
Last time we looked at two traditional sort of heavyweights of Yorkshire beers.
Yeah,
but
the old world of Yorkshire.
This week we are coming straight into the modern era. Yorkshire boasts more than 40 craft beer breweries, and this week we're going to be drinking beers from two of the best.
Wow, can't wait. But I think before we crack on, don't we have some headwear we need to
Oh, the
put on
hat!
Whatever we do in Yorkshire, we really must put on Yorkshire headwear. There you go.
Eyup.
Hey up, old lad. How's it going?
Eyup, Sire. No,
Sither.
Sither.
Eyup,
Eyup,
Sither.
Sither. There we go.
Sire, you can call me Sire if you like. So, what do you think? We've looked at the old world of beers, and you were edgy about the Timothy Taylors. I know you were edgy about the Timothy Taylors, but you liked the Black Sheep.
The Black Sheep was really good.
Yeah,
It was, if I remember rightly, the Black Sheep was a beer that was brewed in the Yorkshire Square.
Indeed.
Which was really interesting, and we had a bit of feedback about that on the website and on the YouTube channel as well.
It's been really interesting, and obviously I like Timothy Taylors. I give that a bigger score than you, but there you go.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at this week, Paul?
Well, shall we unveil the ale?
Let's unveil the ale.
So we're still socially distancing, we're still out here in the garden, so Jono, you get your beers first. Unveil the ale.
Oh, look at this, I've got my glass in the wrong place there. Look. Never mind.
Okay, so what have we got? Right, two beers. What have you brought for us, Jono?
I've brought for you this week, Paul, Salt Brewing Factory, Beer Factory, sorry, Salt Beer Factory, Ikat. Now this is, I'm trying to remember all the acronyms. It's a double
Dry hopped.
that's right.
Yep.
Double IPA.
DDHD IPA.
That's the one.
DDHDPA.
Yeah. Coming in at 8% ABV.
Yep. Wow. Now that's an interesting thing about some modern beers, isn't it? The ABV is definitely...
It's almost like they're ramping them up to wine level.
Oh yeah, of course,
yeah.
So, and I brought along Vocation's Love and Hate, which is a New England style IPA and comes in at 7.2% volume.
I'm trying to remember to the dim and distant past. Did we not do a Vocation brewery one?
We did. This is the second time we've done a Vocation beer. In fact, I think one of the very first episodes you brought along a can of Vocation
Pride and Joy.
Yeah. And this beer comes from Hebden Bridge, which is actually only 12 miles away from the Timothy Taylor brewery that we reviewed a couple of weeks back. And it was established in 2015, this brewery, which is 150 years after Timothy Taylor. Wow. So it really is a pretty new, pretty modern brewery, and they're kind of at the opposite end of the spectrum to Timothy Taylor in that they brew bold, fresh, unique beers, and they very much consider themselves to be at the forefront of the craft beer scene. This beer itself, Love and Hate, it's described as a juicily crushable, unapologetically murky New England pale ale. And Vocation Brewery themselves say, if you like your beer crystal clear with a delicate flavour, then you're going to hate this. Hence the name, I think. Some people will love it, some people will hate it, so it'll be interesting to see how we feel about that. And it's brewed with a big dose of oats, which I think will give it quite a smooth, creamy sort of mouthfeel, and it's triple dry hopped, which is interesting. So it beats your beer, John, which you said was double dry hopped.
Triple dry hopped.
Triple dry hopped, and it's 7.2%. This is going to be, it's going to be a big beer to drink. So I'm expecting it to be cloudy, orangey perhaps, bursting with. Hello, Lockie.
Sorry,
Dog just joined us here on set. Cloudy, orangey perhaps, bursting with those juicy, fruity aromas.
Come here.
And I'm wondering, for me, the key to a really good New England IPA is that balance between the bitterness and the juicy, sort of fruity flavours that come through. So for me, that's what I'm looking for, a really good balance between those. And of course, with the big dose of oats, it's going to have a really nice, creamy sort of mouthfeel.
Indeed.
I think. So, really looking forward to that one. So what about you, John? Tell us a little bit about Ikat, is it?
Ikat, yeah, which evidently is it's a method. It's an Indonesian method of tie-dyeing. Ikat, that's where they get the name from. Salt is a microbrewery on a mission to unify heritage and modern brewing. It's in the UNESCO village of Saltaire, which was built by Sir Titus Salt in the 1800s. Have a look at the internet about Sir Titus Salt and Saltaire. Really interesting stuff. And it's in a Grade 2 listed former Edwardian tram shed.
Right,
The brewery. And again, it's very in keeping with the Saltaire, Sir Titus Salt. You know that that heritage industrialism.
It's a great name, that, isn't it? Sir
Yeah,
Titus Salt.
it is, yeah. And a state-of-the-art brewery and tap room. They did the first brewing in September 2018.
Oh,
so
geez,
just coming up 2 years.
Blimey,
So they've done extraordinarily
even newer
well.
than Vocation Brewery.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. They opened in November 2018. In May 2019, their Alpaca DDH IPA won gold. So that quick.
Wow.
In a bottle can Imperial IPA
So hang on a minute,
category.
so how long after they started brewing did they win gold?
It's about 6 months.
Oh, blooming heck.
Yeah. In the SEBA North East Independent Championships.
Okay.
And in August 2019, the answer is none. Their black IPA. Do you know, I think there's a bit of a Spinal Tap reference there. I mean, how much more black could this be? I mean, the answer is like none. None more black. Well, that won gold, and the Alpaca won bronze at the World Beer Awards. So this company's done extraordinarily well in such a short space of time.
That's incredible.
The beer itself, it's a full-bodied IPA with bags of tropical character.
Okay.
I mean, these both sound like incredibly interesting beers. I'm
Really
looking
exciting.
forward to them.
Really exciting beers. So shall we get pouring?
Yeah, I think we should. Let's get pouring.
Let's get pouring.
Should we do the vocation first?
I think so. Let's do it. Okay, so shall we hold it up to the...
Let's see. It's difficult doing it with this. You don't know if you're going to get a genie from a can. Oh, there is. Yeah, look at that. There is a genie coming out there.
Oh yes, I'm getting a little bit of a genie there.
Right, here we go.
Okay, so... Oh gosh, look at the colour of that, yes.
Now, I don't know if you can smell that. I can. Both these beers are available at Tesco, so it's easy for anybody to get hold of them if you want to get them and have a go at trying them along with us.
So let's give it a squeeze.
Give it a sniff. There is that. It's very pineapple. I'm getting pineapple.
Oh, I'm absolutely getting pineapple from that.
Pineapple,
absolutely. I'm just, it's kind of difficult with the wikes. It's quite windy outside.
You probably hear
today.
it's a bit blustery. Hold on to your hat, Grandpa.
I'm just going to hold this up to the camera because one of the things that Vocation said was that this was unapologetically cloudy, and it is very, very cloudy.
Yeah.
But it's exactly what you might expect from a New England IPA.
But I'm getting the pineapple. There's a grapefruity smell there, and it's very hoppy. I'm still getting that hop smell as well. It's a very hoppy smell.
That pineapple is actually just like opening a can of pineapples.
It is,
so
yeah.
that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no fruit juice in this, but it
It's
smells
just in the hops,
wonderful.
isn't it? It's fantastic. It's a really, it's clever the way these brewers
Amazing.
manage to create all these flavours and smells just by using different varieties of hops.
So I think I'm going to have to go in there and give this a taste.
Oh,
What do you think?
it's not as tropically on first taste there.
There's actually a kind of milkiness to it.
There is,
and
yeah.
I guess that's coming through from the oats.
It's a little bit vanilla. It's very sort of smooth and creamy. And then there's a proper bitterness there. It's bitter on the tip of I'm getting that bitterness on the tip of my tongue. And then that very sharp, it's like you've just squeezed a grapefruit. And then you get that, it's almost a smell stays with that pineapple smell behind the flavour of sharp citrus and grapefruit. But there is a vanilliness. Vanilliness, is that a word? To it. You're right, it's like almost like a milkshakey sort of.
I've got my kind of confused face on, because in many ways it doesn't taste. I'm just going to put that.
The wind.
I'm just going to put this on top of this can.
Just weight it down.
So, yeah, it doesn't taste exactly how I expected it to taste. I mean, I've tasted quite a lot of these New England IPAs, and often, you know, that tropical kind of aroma really comes through in the flavour, and sometimes they can be very bitter, sometimes less so. But the oats in this give this really quite a
creaminess. It's a
creaminess altogether. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. So I mean, one of the things, you know, I'll often think about when I drink a beer is, you know, could I sit out in a beer garden and you know, quite easily sink, you know, 2 or 3 of those, or 3 or 4. Yeah. And with the other Yorkshire beers we tasted a couple of weeks ago, the Timothy
they're rolling
Tails
around 4.5%,
and
so.
the Black Sheep. So you know, you would quite easily, you know, sink a couple of pints of either of those. So, but in terms of these types of beers at, you know, 7-8%, and just given how strong the flavours are, would you sink 3 or 4 pints of them?
I don't think I would. No, I think it's too much.
It is, isn't it?
You know, equivalent there. I mean, you've had an equivalent in alcohol content there, really, of 2 session pints.
Yeah.
That's grand.
This is a really, really nice beer.
Shall we score it now, or shall we score at the end?
Oh, what did we do last
we should
time?
Score it now, actually.
Score it now. Yeah, okay.
Scores on the canvas.
I think in terms of the complexity of just how really well defined the flavours are in that beer. You know, as we said earlier, that creaminess, that kind of creamy oatiness to boot, and I think that's quite unusual. So for me, probably going to give that let's give it an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. I'm not quite decided. Where are you sitting, John?
When I first tasted it, I have to say I wasn't that keen. But a couple more tastes and it won me over. And I think it was that resinous in the middle, sort of flavour that came through in the middle.
Which probably comes through from the dry hop.
It pulled something else in. It almost separated it out from those other New England IPAs that always just taste a bit bitterness and a bit tropically.
Right.
Something cut through there, and it almost, and I said it's like having a menthol hit almost in the middle. I thought that is so complex. It sets it apart almost from the other ones, in a similar way to that Yeasty Boys.
That's right.
South Pacific Porter did.
That's right.
There was just something different about it that separated it out from all its contemporaries, and I think this does the same thing in a similar way. So I'm going to give it 9.
Well, there you go. I'll upgrade my 8.5 to 8.5 / 9 to a 9 then. So that's 2 9s. So that's 18 out of 20. Blooming heck, that's a pretty epic score. So
well done, Vocation Brewery.
Well done, Vocation Brewery. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. Oh, yeah, got a really good genie there.
There is, yeah.
Really good genie.
Now that's got to say, if you smell it in the can, that's got quite a biscuitiness about it there. I mean, it's to me.
Okay. So it's quite a similar,
very similar in colour.
Maybe not quite as cloudy as the Love and Hate is. It's a little bit clearer.
It's a bit slightly clearer, more conditioned, I think.
Oh wow. So yeah, quite similar in colour.
Indeed.
So,
let's have a smell.
Smell.
It's not as powerful in that
It's not
tropical.
as powerful. So I'm just covering my nose just because it's a bit breezy out
I
here.
still think there's a biscuitiness to that.
So in terms of aroma, not
It's not striking.
not quite as strong as the Love and Hate.
There's definitely a slight biscuitiness, a slight maltiness, and a little bit of fruitiness, but I'm getting a bit of ethanol off it as well. But it's hardly surprising when it's 8%.
I know.
You know, that's a lot of ethanol that's in there. So let's have a go.
Have a taste.
That's quite mellow.
Gosh, there's a really nice sweetness to that.
It is, it's a sweet.
And you're right, there is a biscuitiness that underlies
Yeah.
that as well.
There's a maltiness there. There's not much bitterness, really, to that.
And actually, you said that, you know, this was perhaps better conditioned than Love and Hate, but actually, you can't really taste, there's not much carbonation there. There's a
No.
little bit.
It's
But
quite
not-
smooth.
It's quite smooth,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
smooth and mellow. It's sweet. There's a lovely sweetness to that, but there's not much bitterness. Certainly not to me. I'm not getting much bitterness to that.
You mentioned that you thought there was a slight smell of ethanol. Actually, I can hardly taste the alcohol in that. It's
I can't
so,
taste it, but it was just the
so
smell of it.
smooth.
Yeah,
It's so smooth.
I don't think it's there as a flavour. It was just there when when you take that first smell of it, it had that smell of ethanol. It's only slight. I'm not saying it were overpowering, but it's not there in the flavour. What there is a sweetness.
There is, yeah. It is a bit sweeter than Love and Hate.
Yeah,
And it's almost, there's a kind of Moorish quality to it. Because of that sweetness, I could shrink that.
it's like eating one
quickly.
biscuit after
Yeah,
another,
it
isn't
is,
it? When you
it
open
is.
a packet of biscuit and you just
It
want
is.
to keep eating them. It's got that sort of a feel about it. What it does have is an aftertaste to me of like, it's like sweet berry fruit, like strawberries or something like that. It's afterwards, and I think that falls on. I think it's just confusing my taste buds a little bit because there's that sweetness, and there's some hot bitterness, slight hot bitterness there, but the overriding thing is sweetness, and it's making me think of things like strawberries. Right at the end, it's like it's lingered.
Right at the end, I think I can taste that alcohol right at the very end.
Yeah.
But there is also that biscuitiness as well. And it's a different type of biscuitiness. I know this sounds really strange, but when we looked at the other Yorkshire beers, we described the biscuitiness of being like Hovis biscuits, and it's not like Hovis biscuits at all.
No.
It's much more subtle.
It's almost like you think about tropical fruits as being like pineapple and mango and those big sort of bursting with flavour, abundant flavours. It's almost like the more subtle tropical fruits. Do you remember you used to get this little, when you used to go out for a meal, you get a little yellow fruit, starflower fruit, or it's something.
Yes, you do.
It's
in an ice
that.
cream or something.
Yeah, it's that, and it's a little bit, I don't know, is it guava or something, or it's really subtle flavours. Passion fruit even. It's not so powerful, but there is a tropicalness there, but it's just not as powerful. And it's almost they've tried to make it subtle, so you get that flavour in a subtle way. But there is still a tropicalness there, but it's very, very slight.
It is. But then this is not a New England IPA. Remember, this is a double IPA. So what you'd expect from a double IPA is that it's strong in alcohol content.
Yeah.
Excuse me, which it is.
But don't you also normally get quite a strong bitterness with an IPA?
You do, absolutely, and this is not.
It doesn't have that
particularly
bitterness.
bitter.
And that, to me, I find that confusing because I expected with an 8% double IPA.
But maybe the difference is that they're very light on the bittering hops and very heavy on the dry
On the
hopping.
dry
So this
hopping,
is
yeah.
double dry hopped.
Double dry hop,
So
yeah.
maybe that's the difference. So what do you think about scores in the doors for this one then?
I said I was confused by this one, and I still am. I've still not made my mind up about it. But based on what I've smelled, what I've tasted, it's an unusual beer, and you can tell it's strong, and I like that. 8 out of 10.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm going for as well.
Yeah.
8 out of 10. I think it's a cracking beer. I actually... I'm laughing at myself because it's something I say all the time. I could drink a couple of pints of that like really quite easily,
Yeah.
and then I would probably
Regret it.
regret it later in the evening because I'd be absolutely trousered. Okay,
So we've
well,
had 2 cracking New Yorkshire beers, there, haven't we? What a great selection of beers.
so I mean,
that was.
I'm not from Yorkshire, Jono is, but neither of us are down in that part of the world very often. But to those of you who live in Yorkshire, wow, you guys have got a lot of fantastic breweries on your doorstep.
You have.
And I mentioned right at the very beginning, YorkshireCraftBeers.co.uk is where you can find out about all of the kind of craft breweries in Yorkshire. Get Googling, and there's a lot of really interesting
Get
breweries
Googling
there.
and get gurgling.
And remember, these beers are available at a supermarket near you, so look out for them.
Yeah.
And most definitely,
We're trying to
give
do
them a
beers
try.
that everybody can get.
Yeah. Okay.
So don't forget, please subscribe if you like what we're doing on Beer Reactions. Should have said that at the beginning, really.
Yeah.
Please subscribe. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. But leave us some comments. Tell us that we're doing something that you like to watch, and give us some ideas. If some beers that you think we should be reviewing, tell us what they are, and we'll try and get hold of them. Because
Absolutely.
we like reviewing beer.
We do.
You know, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it, haven't they? Really. So on that note, thank you once again for joining, for tuning in and watching Beer Reactions. Hope to see you again soon.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ting.